Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Black Eel Podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the fourth episode of Kite-Man Hell Yeah, and we will
Yep.
be talking about season one of Batman, the Cape Crusader, that came out on August 1st. There were 10 episodes. We're going to briefly just talk about the themes, what we thought about it, and everything else. I don't think we're going to go in major detail about every single episode. Um,
No, there's way
but
too much about that.
but I think we'll definitely touch on every villain for sure,
hmm
um, and go from there. And then we're going to obviously be ending with a character spotlight from Mike this week. But let's get right into it. I mean, seems all right on paper. It looks like this should be our shortest episode in a long time. But
For this year, at the very least.
no, that's what I mean. So I'm like, so we'll see what happens.
Yep.
But Kite Man Hell Yeah, episode 4. This I can honestly say I was not expecting this. Um, Time traveling toilet.
Yeah. Yep.
Time traveling toilet was not what I was expecting. That was not on my bingo card. Um,
Are you really going to be upset about it, though?
no. I'm not upset about it. I was just very confused. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It was just something that, like, hey, let's throw this in there. Sure, why not?
Yeah, and then we find so a couple of things. We find out Golden Glider apparently killed her parents at the bar many years ago
That they now own.
that they now own, and her brother is Captain Cold.
Yep, didn't expect that.
Nope, that one threw me for a loop. He's a loser that lives in an ice cream truck. Um, that's not an exaggeration. That's their words, not mine.
Most villains in this show are losers, unless you're in like the big leagues.
Actually, valid, very valid.
So, I mean, any villain that's appearing that isn't part of the Legion of Doom, they're losers.
No, that's fair. That's fair. So anyway, the premise of this is Bane is helping them move into their apartment upstairs above the bar. Bane has, I'm assuming he's lactose intolerant and but he had to, at the very least, he had to go real bad. So he goes to the bathroom, flushes the toilet, and is apparently in the 80s.
And he's unaware of this because he's just going around and like
He's unaware of it. I think what's hilarious is he keeps making, and it's
he,
definitely
he
because
makes
of,
he keeps making 80s references. He's like, "Why are you doing this? Like it's still the 80s. What are you doing?" And then he's like, "Wait a minute."
yeah. Then he puts two and two together. Um, So yeah, apparently he's got the hots for Golden Glider and Captain Cold's mom, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Um, he
Fell
then
in love with her voice and her beauty.
yes, and didn't like the way her husband treated her.
Which, yeah.
No, he was a jerk. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying.
I mean, Bane is a villain that has morals. So,
Yes, it's just weird to see him in this kind of genre. I guess the best way to say it.
you're still not used to it. This is what I want to see in Bane going forward from now on. If we have a live action of him, I want to see this.
If we have Bane as this, he can't be the only one. He's got to have it's got to be an ensemble cast.
Oh, absolutely.
But
This is
I'm not
one of
against
those
it.
times.
I'm not against
This is one of those times where it's okay to have a Bane as a minion. It's like
Actually, yes. I mean, he is a minion. I mean, he's working for Kite Man. That's the definition of low
yeah.
level. So anyway, the whole premise of this was Kite Man really wanted to find out Golden Glider's past. She didn't want to talk about it at all. Big shocker, right? Like we said, we find out that she actually killed her parents. Captain Cold tells him everything. The then Golden Glider and Kite Man all go in the past to try to stop her younger self from killing pretty much everyone at the bar.
hmm
What happens here, which I obviously don't think was different from what happened in real time in the real world, or in the I question
The old past
the old
or the
past.
old future.
Yes, because apparently, yeah, I know what you meant though.
What happened before?
Yes, or what they thought they knew happened. Let's say that because
They knew what happened.
well, I don't know. I don't know. It's weird because here's the thing: nothing changed from them going into the past. As weird as that sounds, to our
No.
knowledge, because it seems like everyone else had died like we had thought, and her mother was never a part of their lives. So Bane shields their mother from basically exploding. Bane, she then decides to have the life that she always wanted and disappears. We don't know where she goes. Um, and Bane basically tells little Glider that, yeah, you blew up your mommy and daddy.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and apparently to go back into the present, you have to you have to pee and flush.
Yep. Pooping goes back in time. Peeing goes to the future.
No, goes to the present.
I mean, did he say the present or did he say just go to the future?
I think he says you go back to where you came from.
Well then, okay.
I think he was very like ominous about the phrasing of his words. But anyway, we did see Bane technically affect the future a little bit by, stomping a hole in the floor,
Yeah,
carving,
he
carve.
carving the messages, and then Kite Man carving the messages as well.
Yes, and then him photobombing the photo.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, so anyway, they then all go back to the future or present, and she realizes nothing changed. There's no pictures of her mom and a happy family, and then they apparently have Captain Cold living with them,
Yeah,
who was
Captain
have
Cold has moved in. That's a big change.
very big change. However, I don't know if that had. I don't think that had anything to do with anything they did in the past. Um,
No, no, Kite Man
so
just being dumb.
yeah, pretty much. And then they all think that her mom is still dead, except for, well, obviously she knows that her mom is alive, but she doesn't know where she is. Um,
Well, they just
do
don't know what happened.
correct. Do we know if Bane went back to the present?
Yes, he
Did
did.
we? He did. Okay.
Yeah,
My apologies.
it was a he wanted to stay, but then I don't remember the exact thing. Something happened where he was like, never mind, I gotta go back. You got things to do. He like
Well, no, the mom left. She just up and left, and then he was trying to explain to the kids that you killed your parents.
yeah, he was trying to stay, and then uh, I don't remember if there was another scene after he was explaining it to the kids that he then like something made him want to leave that time frame, like if he did something or someone showed up that he didn't want to deal with. I
I
don't
feel like it
remember,
had to do with just.
or if it was him being awkward around the kids trying to
I
tell him that, oh, you killed your parents.
Yeah, I think it was more that. I think she might have started crying, and that made him uncomfortable,
Oh, that
and was
scared him.
like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I gotta go somewhere. I gotta be somewhere.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, so yeah, so we then have an after credit scene ish. Right? It's not even an after credit scene. It's an ending scene, I guess is the best way to phrase it. And apparently, it's her mom in a what looks like a prison cell, surrounded by what looks like gas.
Yep.
My assumption, without knowing anything more, would be the thought that it would have to do with Joker, but I'm literally only coming up with that just because of the gas and nothing else. But now that I think about it, Scarecrow.
I was about to say it could be Scarecrow. She looked terrified, and that's right up his alley as well.
But the difference here was it looked like she was suffocating, which makes me think more Joker than Scarecrow. But either way, to
I
be
mean,
honest with you,
Scarecrow's toxins suffocate as well. When you're breathing it in, you're having a coughing fit.
true.
It's just the difference is Joker's will actually kill you by having you laugh to death, and Scarecrow's makes you live your fears. So,
Yeah, so I'm very curious to see where that goes because it's obviously going to be a plot point. Um,
oh yeah,
I just don't. I don't know. It's giving us a lot of. It gave us a lot. It gave us nothing at the same time. It gave us enough to know that she's alive in the present. She's in some
yep,
sort of jail cell. It looks like just because of her getup, and the fact that she's in a massive cage, and she's being her wherever she is, it's being filled up with some sort of gas, and she's suffocating. But overall, I mean, I thought this episode was actually pretty good. I wasn't expecting it. Not mad about it. Thought it was actually pretty good. Love the introduction to the fact that she is siblings with Captain Cold,
yeah,
which again was not something I was expecting. That was not on my bingo card. But it
no,
is
no.
funny as all heck. funny as all heck.
Two
Um,
very different characters.
yeah, yeah, very different. Which I find very funny. But yeah, overall, I thought it was good. I thought it was good.
No, again, not like a crazy story, just
No, and it doesn't need
just
to
some
be.
good fun.
Agreed. Agreed. Agreed.
And
Agreed.
that's like as we keep saying, the theme of this show.
No, absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, I mean that was pretty much it. I don't know what else to say about. I mean, like I said, I'm assuming the next episode we're probably most likely going to get answers about her mom, but
Yeah,
that's not necessarily true. I don't know. It's going to be tough.
might not be next episode, but like it'll be something that they keep maybe
It,
possibly keep giving hints
I think
toward
it's
in
going to be.
throughout the
I
season.
think it's going to be. We're going to get the answer to what's going on with her before the end of this season, for sure.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if we'll definitely like go like face to face with her necessarily, but we are definitely going to be seeing more of her, even if it's just because of everything that's going on and all that stuff, and going from there.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's everything I have on Kite Man. Hell yeah!
Yeah,
Anything else you'd like to
and
add?
no, we gotta start breaking down and give our thoughts on Batman.
All right, let's talk about Batman: The Cape Crusader. So all 10 episodes are out. I watched all 10. I'm assuming you did the same.
I
Um,
managed to get it all in.
yeah. So how do you want? All right. So first off, let's go over all the villains really quick. The first one was female Penguin.
Yep, Penguin.
Um, I liked her.
Yeah, I
I
thought it was a cool take. I
honestly
mean,
was very good. I
I
also
know
think
that I know like a lot of people were having issues with it, but as I've said, like this isn't one of those characters where being a male is detrimental to the character. I mean, as long as it's he's a criminal mastermind, he's a mob boss. They just took, and I mean he's got it's got the uh characteristics that make Penguin the Penguin, the
mhm,
disfigurement, uh the the umbrella,
the top
the
hat, the
ice,
monocle.
the top hat, the iceberg lounge. All these things that they can change the character a little bit. I mean, it's a fresh take. This is a new universe.
I think this Penguin I was the most terrified of, um, and I think it had to do with the fact that she's a she, and the reason why I say it that way is because she killed her own son and was willing to kill her other son without even a second's thought.
Yep.
And I think to me, nothing against all the other renditions of Penguin ever, but there's something about a bond that a mother has with her children, and the fact that this particular mother does not have it
Yeah. Yeah.
makes her more terrifying. But I also think that's what made her character even better. So I honestly think this is one of my favorite renditions of Penguin by far.
Yeah. No, I mean I mean it's a unique take. I like it a lot. I mean, each rendition has their own traits. This
Yes.
one, was she built her empire with her family, and the fact that her family turned on her, they're not her family.
No valid.
Now it's one of those things too, where it's like, uh, did they say specifically that they were actually her kids, or was it they were just calling her mama because it was
So
some kind of weird
I think
thing?
100% look like her.
You think? But unless it's like identical copy, like I'm terrible with like, oh, they look alike.
So the one that she killed, I didn't think they looked anything alike. I'll say that.
Yep.
That doesn't mean it's not her kid. I'm not saying that.
Yep.
But the other one, the one that was the rat, was more looked more like her for sure.
Hmm.
Um, I'm I don't want to say yes or no to that. My guess is yes. My guess is they are actually her kids, because nobody else calls her mommy.
Yeah.
That was the only reason. If I saw others doing it too,
Then
like
you would have been like, yeah,
Mama Penguin or anything like that. You know what I mean?
yep,
I would have been more of that, but no. I also like the idea of like her flirting with the cops and everything. I thought that was kind of cool as well.
yep, yep, yep. You using her sexuality to her advantage,
Yep.
especially for the time period this is set in.
Yes. No, 100%. No, honestly, thought it was great. I really, like I said, I think this penguin was the one of the better penguins I've seen. Um, so let's move on to the next villain, which is Clayface.
Yep. And so I know we were talking about this and how I said like, oh, this was episode 3. I had made a mistake. It was episode 2. I had
Yep.
so before we talked, I had started episode 3. So in my head, I was like, oh, this was episode 3. But
Fair
yep.
enough. So the main villain was Clayface. Very much. This one was much more of a thriller episode in a
Mm-hmm.
murder mystery. Clayface is not typical Clayface. However, it worked for this 100%.
Yeah. Yep.
Um,
Again, all of these characters are such unique takes.
but they
Uh,
all worked. There
they
was
all
not
worked.
there was not a single one that I felt didn't work. There was one we'll talk about a little bit later that I wish they did more with. Um, but we'll go into it a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so anyway, so yeah, we had that. So we had Clayface. He was a murderer who was getting revenge on everyone who basically messed with him in Hollywood. The main story of this is he's an actor, a phenomenal actor, one of the best. However, because he's not good looking, he didn't get the parts that he deserved and could have gotten had he been better looking. So
Yep.
he worked with this scientist slash makeup artist who gave him the ability to morph his face and to look like whoever he wanted. However, it backfired a
Didn't
little
work the
bit.
way he wanted.
No, it still works a little bit like the way he wanted, but not as long as he would like.
Yep.
Um, yeah. So this was a interesting episode. It messed with me a little bit because there were people who were been dead for a bit who kept showing up, who apparently was Clayface in disguise, and it got me.
Yeah, that episode was just like such. Like as soon as so when they were when Batman found the two murdered as people, I
Yeah,
forget.
let's go. I think one was it. One.
One was like a director, one was another actor, I think. So and one was maybe a
I
detective.
No, I don't think one was the director. I think one was the producer, like the bigger guy that kept crying and complaining, and the other guy I think was another actor.
Yeah.
It was the one on the bike, I believe.
Yep. Yeah. So it was like when Batman found him and he was like, hey, I found these two. The problem was Detective Montoya just interviewed them an hour ago, and I was like, wait, what? My mind is so blown away right now.
Well, because he's that good that he was able to convince everyone who he was, and I
Yep.
think
I don't know.
that's like the big
I
thing right there on its own.
I liked this because of the fact that also we have the Suicide Squad show come out right now, and it's giving two very different perspectives of Clayface.
Yes,
And
yes,
still, again, my thing is with, I mean, they can have bad takes as well, but again, they've kept the character to itself. He wants to
yes,
be an accomplished actor. That's literally all he wants, and his body is just preventing him from doing that in this case. So
yes. No, absolutely. Um, yeah.
it was
No,
pretty. It was a sad episode. Like you felt bad for him.
yes, yes.
Yeah, I mean, again, it was especially because of the times. You know what it was. This was set in like the
50s or
30s,
40s.
50s or 40s. Yeah.
I think it was
So
probably 40s to be honest with you. But either way, my whole point on
so
making this,
like if you didn't have that perfect look or perfect body, whatever, you weren't
it
getting
didn't
anywhere.
it
So
didn't matter what your talents were.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I also like the idea of him getting punched in the face and then the imprint of the fist.
yeah,
Um,
yep,
I like that. I also like because he's an actor, he's skilled in so many different stage combats that he was able to go toe to toe against Batman for a little
yeah,
bit. I
yeah. That
like
was
that.
pretty cool.
I like that as well. Um, yeah, I liked his. I like this story overall. I don't know. I definitely felt bad for Clayface for sure. There's going to be another character I think I feel worse for, and we'll get into that
I
a little bit.
think I know which one you're talking about, and I can say I probably already agree. Yep.
So episode 3, it brings us to Catwoman.
Another
Uh,
interesting take.
this was a very different take than I'm used to.
Yeah.
Um, she's a former rich girl who family apparently only got rich from scheming the government. It sounds like, and
Yep.
she spent the rest of her time being a cat burglar. And to be honest with you, she was a thief before Batman got involved, but she became Catwoman because of Batman.
Yep. Batman inspired her to take on a secret identity.
Yes. No, 100%. I think it's just for the fact that he got all this publicity and everything else, and nobody knows who he is. She
Yeah,
also,
she got jealous.
she did. The fact that she is, not the number one person thought about bothers her. But the other thing too was she also made a Catmobile,
Yeah.
um, and she stole not only jewels and money, she stole cats too.
I mean, I don't know about stole, but she at least fostered. Remember the one that she stole from the house, she never took. She took him to the roof and then Batman showed up. So,
Oh, oh, that's right. She never got a chance to actually take him.
yeah. I mean,
Uh,
I mean, in all renditions, Catwoman fosters lost cats. So,
no, I understand that, but it looked like she was taking that cat, and she
she
was.
definitely looked like she was taking them. I would definitely say that she at least stole some of those cats. I don't know if she stole all of them.
I will agree. I'm thinking not all of them were stolen or kidnapped or whatever you want to call it, but
Mhm.
I do believe that there were definitely some strays. However, I feel like every heist that she did where there was a cat, she probably took it.
Yeah, probably. Yep.
If
Based
she
off of how
packed it.
that scene went, yeah.
This Catwoman I liked the least, and I think the only reason why I didn't like her as much as all the other renditions of Catwoman is just because she was rich before.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with this one is because she was rich and her father ended up in jail and
Made her
lost all
spoiled.
of her. Yeah, she was spoiled and now her father is no longer spoiling her. Now she has to find other ways to continue to be spoiled
Yes.
without actually earning it. So,
Basically. Yeah, I
and I love the fact that the maid was just like, "Listen, you need to get it off your ass. We need to do this, you know." And she's
and I
like,
like
"No, it's fine."
and I like how the maid double crossed her.
Yep, well deserved.
No, 100%. Um, no, nothing against Catwoman. It's not that I didn't like her in this. I just think there were better versions of Catwoman in this. However, for the times, this was a good Catwoman. I thought.
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, you're right. You have your opinion to say that you didn't like it. I'm not saying I liked it. I mean, I agree with you. There are other renditions that I think were a lot better,
But I also think
but
this wasn't obviously meant to be a Catwoman show.
yeah,
So it's not like I don't have a major issue at this moment in time. But like I said, out of all the characters I've seen so far, this rendition would probably be the lowest as of right now.
yeah,
But that doesn't mean it wasn't good. It was a very good take, regardless. I was very intrigued. I liked the fact that she was basically stealing Batman's ideas, which I liked.
yeah. She was also trying to steal his mother's jewels, which actually
Yes.
led to the trap that eventually got her caught.
Yes. All right. Episode 4,
I think
technically.
I think before we move on, we have to talk about how the overarching theme of this show,
I was actually.
aside for each episode having its own unique villains that Batman is trying to figure out how to stop, is the fact that Jim Gordon
So I was actually going
is
to do that. So my whole thing was I was going to bring that up at the end because I wanted to talk
oh
about each individual villain and then talk about the main characters and how the story arc
oh
throughout the whole season.
okay, progress.
Um, so episode 4 was basically the main manhunt for Batman. There
Yep.
technically wasn't a main villain in this episode. However, it technically was Firebug. aka Firefly.
Nope. Two different villains.
Oh, oh, it's two different villains.
Yep. There is a villain in the DC universe called Firebug. Literally,
Oh,
basically the exact same thing as Firefly.
oh, oh, oh. Right. So I still felt bad for this character. So Firebug,
Oh, yeah.
um, was basically trying to get help. Um, he was in Arkham Asylum, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
I believe so. At the very least, he was in some sort of mental health facility, whether it was Arkham Asylum or not. He was broken out by the two worst cops to ever exist on the planet.
In every single Batman rendition.
Actually, yes.
Yeah.
Um,
What are their names again? I am
Bullock and
Flask.
Flask. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
I couldn't think of Flask right away. But anyway, so Firebug was released basically to basically cause destruction, so Batman would come out of hiding, so they can then capture Batman.
Yep.
Um, and because of this, Firebug does what Firebug does best and burns things. So now I'm curious, what's the difference between? Is there a difference between Firebug and Firefly?
No.
I would
No.
imagine that Firefly can fly, and then
Yeah,
Firebug doesn't.
I think literally the only difference is I don't know Firebug too well, but I think Firefly can fly and Firebug cannot.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I just thought that,
I think Firebug is a little bit more mentally unstable,
which they obviously did very well with that.
which they portrayed. Yeah.
No, 100%. I. So either way, regardless of whether I thought it was Firefly or not, I felt bad for this character the most because he was used as a trap for Batman and then was disposed of, and I'm under the impression killed.
Dude, he got the tarp put over him.
Yeah, I know. The reason why
He
I
got
say
shot and
can
fell
I
out
just
of a 3-story building.
can I just say that Batman logic?
Batman logic? There's no Batman logic there.
Think about it this way, right? The idea is there are people sometimes that are alive when we're surprised that they should be. Okay? I will admit that has technically not happened here yet, but my argument is just stating like we're under the impression he's dead, and I felt really bad because he just wanted to be himself, and he gets killed for it.
Yeah. He wanted to be
was used.
himself. He was used.
Yep,
It
that's
was,
also true.
and going off of your point of we haven't seen a situation where a character survived where they shouldn't have. I think in the next episode they kind of they heavily hint at that.
No, I know. That's why I said what I said, because it's the possibility of it.
Oh yeah.
Is the point I'm making. So my whole thing is like, so Firebug, I felt really bad for. Regardless.
Oh, that was a really sad episode. Like, I mean,
yeah.
Honestly, the fact that that Bullock actually pulled the trigger when my jaw actually dropped.
I think it wasn't even only the fact that he pulled the trigger; he was rewarded for it.
Yeah, he was. I mean, hey, back in the times,
I know.
a cop killed a criminal. That was seen as a great thing.
And he's a known criminal. Firebug is a criminal. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like the argument wasn't like he was known and was proven already to be a criminal. Granted, nobody knows what was actually done beforehand, but
it was even worse that it was like Gordon was ready to reprimand them, and they're just sitting there smugly.
Well, because they already knew. They already knew.
Yeah,
because I'm
they already
sure
knew, and the mayor, because he's so desperate about getting reelected, that he's like, "Yep, they're the heroes. You now have to do whatever they say because I said so."
Yeah. I just felt bad for this character, so bad. I really just, I felt bad.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, let's move on to episode.
It's just like also it's like this series was very dark.
Yeah. Even funny characters weren't funny, and I mean that in like the nicest way possible, which is a great transition to episode.
Which
5.
is a great transition for this next character.
So we've been introduced to Harley Quinzel already in a couple of episodes already. I think since episode 3.
She wasn't in either way.
No.
Th-
She was in.
I
Well,
think
for sure she was in episode 3. I don't remember 100%.
think she was in episode 2. I think we got a hint at her there.
I maybe. I think you might be right. I thought we didn't see her until Batman punched the guy in episode 3 for ticking off, like, for making in front of his mother.
Yes, that was in episode 2.
No, episode 3 is Catwoman, which is where he punched the guy in the face. Because
That's
remember,
right.
it was, yeah.
Yep.
So anyway,
Yep.
but either way, she's been around for a couple episodes, right?
Yep.
And so she's a therapist, and she is. That's not a lie. She was even a therapist to Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Um,
Very many important people in the Gotham world.
and she hints heavily that she's heard a lot of dark stuff and dealt with a lot of dark stuff, which, to be fair, regardless of her being a villain or not, would make sense that she would have heard that stuff anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the only reason why we knew this Harley Quinzel was going to be Harley Quinn is because we see her in the trailer.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So, like, realistically, they could have played it off in this season and not had her transform. To be honest with you,
Yeah. Oh, she could have been.
but they went for it, and they went in a very bizarre take.
Very.
So
It was she's a criminal
but
that
not
is
really.
but like she's doing harm to people, but doing it to the people who deserve it.
And conforming them to where they're supposed to be good.
But yet they're still bad because she's using them to punish other bad people.
Yes.
Or not even bad people, her enemies, or who she deems as her enemies.
Yes, I think before she had enemies, it was definitely more of they would only hurt those who deserved it.
Yeah.
And then she got enemies, and then things changed.
I was just so confused when they when they started the episode with the guy dressed as the clown, and I was like, oh, okay, this is Joker. And all of a sudden you hear a female voice, and it's like, oh, did you conform, or what? How, however was that she phrased
yeah,
it?
are you gonna do what you should be doing or something like that? Are you gonna?
Yeah. And he was like, yes. He's like, I don't believe you. And then like his torture was getting tickled under the foot by a feather. And
I also feel like there's, like, although that was supposed to be comedic for obvious reasons.
Oh, there's so much more to it. Yeah.
I feel like there was a reason for it because he must have talked about something along those lines that would have messed with him. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
so
yeah.
Although we did not see or hear that 100%, that's my assumption.
Yeah.
Which is a good assumption. But yeah, so we had all that going on. She also had them all dressed up in weird outfits.
Very weird.
We had a schoolboy, a baby, a clown.
A big baby.
A clown, a baby that wants dessert. A clown.
Yeah.
And the king.
And the pharaoh.
The pharaoh escaped, but yes.
Yep.
You are absolutely correct. The pharaoh as well.
I think there was one more too, but I don't remember it.
Her henchman.
I thought aside for the pharaoh, there was 5 that were dressed up.
Probably. I don't remember what he looked like though.
Either way, not
but
the point of the story.
It doesn't ruin anything for the story on that piece. However, so the whole idea is people have gone missing. Rich people have gone missing specifically. And it turns out that they were all seen by the same therapist, which this had to have been in the 30s or 40s, or even the 50s, because she was only charging $150 per session.
Yeah. Without insurance.
Yes. Although back then I don't think insurance covered anything. I don't even think there was insurance.
I was about to say I didn't think there was insurance back then.
As soon as I said it, I was like, I don't even think there was insurance.
That's not a thing. That's barely a thing now.
Also very true. So yeah, so we had all that going on, and Harley Quinn was much more bubbly in her regular persona than when she was donning the jester outfit.
Yeah. she was so stone cold serious as the Jester.
Yeah, and the reason why I'm calling her the Jester is because she's not called Harley Quinn.
Yeah, no.
Um,
They only at one point someone called her Harley, but that was it.
yes, but that was the Pharaoh. That was the
Yep.
Pharaoh when he was like, because he was knocked out and he
I
said
think
his
actually at one point too, I think Batman said Quinn, but that was only because he was trying to say Quincell, but it got cut off, so he only had time to say Quinn.
that also makes sense too. But like it sounds like she's Harleen Quinzel still. She might
Yep.
go by Harley, but she's Quinzel, Doctor Quinzel, and yeah. So the whole
She
premise
had a
was,
thing for Montoya.
yeah, yeah. That was
That threw me off.
it kind of it hit me like a ton of bricks because although she hinted at it early on in the season, she then just went full on.
Oh yeah, she went right in there.
Yeah, so I was a little surprised that she did it so abruptly. However, it made sense because of what happens in this episode.
Yep.
Um, so anyway, she basically has all these people, and her goal is to get them to pretty much give away all their money,
Yeah, help those in need.
which is such a weird take on Harley Quinn, but like also fitting at the same time. It's bizarre. Um,
For this character, very fitting.
no, no, 100%. Like this particular one, 100%.
And
Um,
obviously, she hasn't been corrupted by the Joker, so it's not like her mind was just twisted to do this just for fun. Like she had a good cause in mind, which is again weird for Harley Quinn, but great for the universe.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So anyway, Batman comes in. She actually outsmarts him. She does. Um,
Yeah,
Barbara Gordon breaks Batman out. She then detonates basically a self-destruct in the mansion.
yeah. She had a
Uh,
bomb rigged on the home in case she ever
she
got
then finds
she
out that
ever in
Barbara
case
was
she ever
back
got
there.
got.
She finds out that Barbara was there again. Barbara was there. She goes back, tries to save her. She then backfires and she falls to what we assume is her death um, into the water.
Until the after credit scene, I guess, where
Yeah,
Montoya
Montoya is waiting at the is wait. So you know what the funny
Harley
thing
told her
is?
to meet up.
I
Yep,
thought that phone call was going to be Barbara,
I thought so too.
and when I heard
So when I heard the phone ringing, I was like, "Oh, someone's calling at the restaurant." Then I saw that it was the portable phone or what
payphone,
payphone. Thank you.
oh my
Wow,
gosh, you're not
wow.
that old. You know what they
We're not
are.
that old. No, the payphone. When I saw it was the
I mean, you're
payphone, I
not
was
that
like,
young.
"That's
You know what
Harley."
they are. Um, yeah. So payphone. Um, yeah. So I thought it was Barbara Gordon to be fair, and then when I heard Harley's voice on it, I was like, oh, so she's alive.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I'm kind of surprised by. I'm not surprised that she's alive, but I'm surprised that the, that they demonstrated in the way they did. But like right from the get go, same episode. Like, hey, by the way, although they never made it seem like she was dead. To be fair, I know it sounds weird to say, but like it wasn't like there was a body or anything like that.
No, she just fell 100 something feet into rock water.
We are assuming rock water.
There were literally rocks at the bottom of the cliff, poking through the water.
She's Harley Quinzel.
Okay,
Um,
there was literally there is no reason not to assume that she died.
yes, this Harley Quinn focuses more on her intelligence and her psychology degree than she does fighting in any other way.
Hmm.
Her mind is her biggest asset in this, which I do like. I thought this was a great take on Harley Quinn.
I want to point out that going off of her mind benefiting her, she knew Bruce Wayne was Batman
Yes.
because
Yeah.
when she
So
caught Bruce Wayne, when she caught Batman, she says maybe we can maybe someday we can whatever crack that childhood trauma that you have, which is
yeah,
something that while Bruce had to go into therapy because of, like you said, he punched the
he punched a civilian in the face for making a comment about his mother.
making a bad comment about his mother, so that led him to therapy. and Harley had said, there's a lot of childhood trauma here because of your parents being murdered. Let's try to get to the bottom of it. And she
Yes.
basically told Batman that I know.
Well, but even before that, when she was just seeing Bruce, she was like, "I know, like if I didn't know better, you were just the playboy philanthropist that
Yeah.
everyone sees you as, but I do know better." And so I don't think I'll say this. I don't think she thought he was Batman until she saw Batman.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like I'll definitely say that. However, she definitely knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman.
She just
Now,
saw him while seeing him as Bruce Wayne. She saw him as another potential client that she could take all his money and do. She wanted his money to donate or
I
whatever.
don't know for sure. I think it's because if you remember
Hmm.
correctly, hear me out on this. She only did it to the ones who did not change after therapy.
Well, that's the thing is like Batman was Bruce was putting off the image of not caring and being a,
Okay, also
a
valid.
dick. So she was saw him as another target,
Valid.
especially because she wanted him to stay on for more sessions.
Yes, but I think also too. I think as weird as it sounds, she also has the idea that she does want to help, right? And I think
Oh yeah.
because of that, um, I think that because of that, she really wanted to. She wants to give him a chance to change. I don't think she would have just flat out taken all his money and everything
Oh
else.
no, no, no. She
I
wants to try to help him, but
I
if
think
they won't, if
I
they
think
refuse to be helped,
and I think with the more I think she would have given him some time
yeah,
after like the court ordered ones because it wasn't. I think the other ones they chose to go to therapy, and I know that's a weird. But so they wanted to change, but in actuality they didn't. They just wanted to spew their stuff and then be done and over with. And I think because of that, that's why she did what she did. However, Bruce Wayne was the only one who didn't want to go there because of everything else going on, and it wasn't his idea to begin with, and the fact that she thought that there was something else hiding in it, which she was not wrong.
no,
Um,
definitely not.
but yeah, so all that, and we'll talk about that in a little bit later. But yeah, so that was Harley Quinn, Quinzel, and I like that. I like that take on her. I liked
Yeah.
the outfit. It was very different. It was yellow black instead of black and red, which I did
Hmm.
like. And she calls herself the Jester, which I think is the name she's going to be keeping for a bit.
Yeah, probably.
Um, so the next episode after that is episode 6, which is the Ghost.
Did we miss episode 5?
No, episode 5 is Harley Quinn.
What was 4?
It was Firebug.
Right. Okay. Yep.
Because remember, 4 wasn't really
Yeah. Yep.
like
Yep.
it
Yep. Yep.
was, but
Yep.
it wasn't. Yeah. So 6 was what did I just say? The Ghost. So this one messed with me because this was really good. This gave us the supernatural, old school Gotham City that I wasn't sure we were going to see in this.
Yeah. No, it was a really good episode.
I mean, basically, it was a ghost that came back from the dead to haunt people and steal all the money from the poor to give to the rich, which is the reverse Robin Hood.
Very reverse Robin Hood, but also very particular. It was the minorities too.
It was basically anybody who wasn't rich. It was all the people, it was the working class. He would take from the working class because he thought in his life that democracy was the ruin of his fortune.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, we got some supernatural stuff where they had to like use the blood of a nobleman to basically stain the deed, which happened to be Pennyworth, um, and burn the deed.
I I think the real takeaway for this episode too was the fact that Bruce Wayne doesn't know his butler like in most takes.
This one, this one, oh, sorry. This one heavily focused on, and like I said, we'll talk about this a little bit later too, but we do have to bring it up because it is the premise of this episode. The relationship between Bruce and Alfred is not exist. It's Bruce and Pennyworth. It is servant and master,
Yeah, very much so. Like in most renditions, Alfred is like a father to Bruce,
which is
and
still the case here. However, Bruce doesn't see it this way at this time.
yeah, and he very much takes for granted Alfred, and
Yes.
until Alfred in this episode almost dies, he doesn't realize what he's losing.
Correct. And I think that was the big thing here was I think this builds the relationship of Batman and Alfred.
Mm-hmm.
Which we do get. We don't get it yet. We get it in the later of the season, almost at the very end, where we actually get more of a better reaction between the two. But this is the start. It's the start. Is that brother blood?
No.
Who is that
Um,
supposed to be?
hang on, I have a list of who he was.
Of who he could potentially
Um,
be?
Pap, Papa Midnight.
Oh,
Um, yeah, I didn't pull up too much information about him, but he's someone who helps Bruce Wayne in supernatural fights. We can try to pull up Papa Midnight. I'm assuming you're probably doing the same thing.
um, I don't know if that's actually who it's supposed to be.
You
Oh
don't think
no.
so?
Oh, okay. That's not who I thought that was. Okay. Never mind. Um, wow. Okay. No,
So,
there was a villain. There was a villain. I was dead set. I knew who they were, and I was very wrong.
oh, okay. um,
Yeah, we'll talk
so
about it
Papa
in a minute.
Midnight. I just pulled him up. Papa Midnight is a powerful Jamaican voodoo magician operating out of New York using his dead sister's skull as a totem for his magic. Papa Midnight has found himself to be a rival and even an enemy to John Constantine. And
Oh, okay, that makes
In the
sense.
new 52 reboot, Papa Midnight's nationality has changed to be Haitian, but his rivalry with Constantine remains the same. Um, so yeah, just a voodoo magician.
What irritates me is they're not. Maybe is this him?
Who are you looking for?
Aha! I got his name in the actual show.
Who?
He had the name. His name was Linton Midnight.
Oh yeah, that was another. Yeah, that was yeah.
So that's exactly who it is. Because
I
that's
yeah. I had seen Midnight, but I went with the general Papa Midnight instead.
no, that's fine. But anyway,
And
um,
the ghost is actually called his official name is the Gentleman Ghost.
yes, you are correct. You are correct, sir. But anyway, so yes, this was a great take. This gave us supernatural. It also gives us old Arkham, which is something that I've always wished we got more of.
Yeah.
Definitely liked it overall. Um, thought it was kind of cool.
Also very
Um,
racist Gotham.
yes, yes,
Because
very much so.
I think it's I think I'm a little bit thrown off with the Lucius Fox take in this universe.
That he's a lawyer,
That he's a lawyer and he's
rich.
I mean he's always rich, but it's just
It sounds yeah, but I think the difference in this one is he's rich on his own and not because of the Waynes.
I mean he's still technically rich because of the Waynes.
I mean, I think he's more rich now, but I don't know. I think it's one of those things where like he was a lawyer, like he became a lawyer, and I don't know if that had anything to do with the Waynes. Obviously, he
I don't
helps
think that
out.
had anything to do with the Waynes. He just has a close association with the Waynes.
Yes,
And then he has a close friendship with Bruce because even he was telling him like, oh, there's this manor that in this episode that this is what you remember, this place that I told you you should buy. Well, I ended up buying it.
yes,
So they have a relationship. So
no, 100%. I'm kind of torn about it because it's like it's a friendship, but also kind of like a rivalry a little bit too. It's it's also like a business transaction. Like it out of all the relationships in this show, their relationship is the toughest to pin down.
Yeah, I mean, you also, I mean, don't forget that good rivalry breeds friendship.
Also true. Also true.
So
But yeah, so that was the Gentleman's Ghost. And then episode 7, we have a villain that I thought was Deadshot.
nope,
Nope.
onomatopoeia.
Onomatopoeia.
Yeah,
I looked it up and was like, "Oh, that's Deadshot." And I'm like, "Oh," and I was like, "Oh no, that's onomatopoeia."
nope, yep. That almost was my character spotlight today.
Onomatopoeia.
Yeah,
So anyway,
because I knew you thought I was going to be Deadshot.
well, to be fair, you can understand why I thought so. But
Oh
I
yeah.
thought it was weird that he kept going bang 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 bang, which makes sense because he's onomatopoeia.
Yep.
But anyway, so basically there's a hit on Gordon, and I'm saying it that way for a reason.
Yep.
Uh,
Very
because it's
much a reason.
well, because it alludes to the fact that it was James Gordon that is the hit is being placed on. And
Yep.
it turns out that the whole time the hit wasn't even on him, it's actually his daughter.
Yep. Barbara was being hunted instead, and they just happened to be in the same place at the same time.
Every
Every
time.
time there was a hit, every time a hit was being taken place.
And then because it failed the first time, they then up the bet or up the ransom or up I'm sorry, up
Yeah,
the bounty,
up the bounty.
and onomatopoeia came, and he almost would have gotten it too had it not been for that pesky Batman. Um,
If it weren't for you meddling kids,
if it wasn't for you meddling orphans. So,
that's
not wrong. Um,
that's just because you're not wrong doesn't mean you shouldn't say it.
that's a valid statement. Valid statement. But I
What
stick to
there
I
was
stick to
there
I
was
stick to my
that there
guns.
was that meme. There was the meme I sent the group chat that no one answered. Yes, that I sent yesterday. Uh,
Wait, which
there
one
are
was it?
times my greatest
Oh
accomplishment
yeah,
is just
yeah.
keeping my mouth shut. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, Scott.
Yeah, yeah. But I stick to my guns on that statement. It's still funny as all heck. And you know, YOLO. You only live once, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
so anyway, obviously
Well,
it's
this is going to be the final episode. It's been now being canceled.
yeah, it lasted a while. But anyway, no, the whole thing was this episode was more focused on the relationship between Barbara and her dad. Um, but we got onomatopoeia, and he was taken out. There really wasn't much about him other than that he was a hitman. He was basically a hitman that wanted his money, and was taken out by Batman. That was pretty much the end of that one.
There was, I mean, it was also that, like you said, the relationship between Jim, and Barbara. The fact that Gor- uh, each Gordon had a different take on crime, where
Yes.
James was like, okay, what you can't give all criminals second chances. They don't all deserve it. And Barbara was
Correct.
like, no, they all deserve second chances. And
They
like
all
they're
they all
all like
deserve
the
it.
entire episode,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, like does this prove my point? Does this prove my point? Like going back and forth, and each of them had a good point for their case.
But I think at the end of this episode, they both met in a middle ground.
Well, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's all case by case scenario. Especially because at the end of the day, the person who put the hit out on her was someone that she tried to defend and got the best case scenario for him, and he
Yes.
didn't appreciate what she did.
And I like how Batman broke into jail and beat him to near death to get her to call off the hit.
Yeah, just to stop the rant, to
He's like, I told your friend,
stop the bounty.
I told your friend, I called off the hit. We're good now. We're good. Um,
That was good. It just goes to each person each person in the jail cell, like who sent you, you know.
yes. Next one messed with me. So this was the main villain was Nocturne. That one I got right.
Another sad one. This
This
one gave back a good callback to the Justice League
is that the same
animated show.
girl?
Not the same girl,
Oh, okay.
no, but the whole scenario was very very.
No, I will give you it definitely gave me that scene. But when you said that, I was like, do not tell me that was the same girl. I didn't think it was.
No, it was in the Justice League show. It was Ace because it was the Royal Flush Gang,
Yes. No, I know.
and
But the Royal Flush Gang was also consisted of many different groups and many different members at different times.
no, it was different members, but that no, Ace and
No,
Nocturne are two different characters.
fair enough. No, no, no. That's either way. I will agree with you. It gave me that vibe as well.
Yeah,
Um, so apparently this character is very vampire-like. Um,
yeah, we'll go with that. Yeah,
she has to suck the life force out of beings to keep her strength.
and she tends to like kids.
Yes, and I wonder if that's just because they have more life to give. I don't know.
Honestly, I took it that it was easier for her to do that versus adults.
Probably, probably, probably. Um, but yeah, so basically the whole gimmick is she's a carnival freak. Um, it's a politically correct term back then. Um,
Yeah.
sadly,
Did you notice another villain that was part of the circus?
yeah, Killer Croc.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
So I wasn't 1,000% sure it's him, but I'm like that was the closest thing we've gotten for sure. And
Yeah.
because he was in the circus before, wasn't he?
That I don't know honestly.
It was a
I do not
circus.
know.
If I remember correctly, there was renditions of him being in a circus, and there was renditions of him being like a wrestler.
The wrestler. Yeah, I remember the wrestler. I remember. I don't remember the circus.
I think he was part of the freak show, and I think that might have been where he wrestled.
Possible. Yeah.
Don't hold me to that. Don't hold me to that. I just something's making me say that in my head, and I feel like for once there's actually logic behind it. Um,
Rare moments.
rare moments, and you know I have an encyclopedia of useless knowledge, and to be fair, I they do pop up every once in a while. But anyway, that being said, we have all that going on and everything else, and she can't be in the sunlight, which we never quite understand why. Um,
Vampire esque.
no, I know. That's why I said that. And at the end of the episode, Batman doesn't want to really fight her. Um, but then she starts to burn. It looks like, and he picks her up and carries her away.
And
And
the other kid wanted her to die,
yes, hundred
which
percent.
is understandable. This kid was scared.
Oh, here's the thing. Both sides of the coin, I understand.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm not condoning, nor am I like saying that they were horribly wrong either. Like they had a reason. But anyway, so we had all that going on, and she then is in the hospital being examined by doctors, which I feel like is going to be bringing her back at some point.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I felt bad for her. I felt
This was
bad.
another sad episode because of that.
Yeah, she killed her brother by accident.
Yep. And then she wanted to die. She actually
She,
wanted to die because of that.
yeah, and Batman wouldn't let her. And you know when you think about,
Selfish.
it's like now that I'm thinking about it, it's like he's punishing her. But, yeah, so yeah, I felt bad. This was a really good episode, though. This was actually
No,
one of
this
my
was.
favorites. Also, supernatural-esque. I liked it. It was more power-based,
Yep.
which I liked.
It also showed the human side of Bruce Wayne. As this is one of the few
Yes,
times in the episode where he cared about other people instead of it just
it's
being a
one of the few times in
playboy.
this season. Like not
Yeah,
even an episode, like the whole season.
yeah, that's what I meant. The season, yeah. Like when it comes to taking care of the orphans, like it's a soft spot for him, and that
Yes.
was you know, he actually cared, even though he tried to put off that he didn't.
Yep.
There were people that knew and was like, nope. And this also started showing like the real close connection between Dent and Wayne.
Yes, which then was severed in the last two episodes.
Yeah,
The last two episodes, the main villain was technically Harvey Dent / Two-Face.
yeah. And another interesting take on him, you know?
So yeah, so we could talk more. Well, after this, we're going to be talking about each individual character, briefly on like their story arc and everything. So Harvey Dent is one of the few villains And I argue even if he was a true villain in this, um,
It was kind of a typical thing where
he
like
was more
he
vigilante, I think, in this one than anything else. In this
I mean
rendition,
it was he was definitely a villain because it was his multiple personality that was making him commit the crimes. And it was anyone that got in his way from from uh doing what he wanted, then he would kill them. So, he was doing it because he wanted revenge on those who harmed him.
yes,
But then it was just those people were bad people. It's not like, but then anyone who happened to be in his way, they would
he would get
they
rid of.
would also be taken out. But uh he originally would go after Batman, but then his, I guess, human side was like, no, this is bad.
Yes,
Put me in jail.
yeah, it was a lot of back and forth, which I did like.
I
The
loved it,
the
honestly.
the animation of his um, acid burnt face was actually pretty cool.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Um, Overall, liked it. This was like we said, we got to see Harvey Dent more. We got to know that Harvey Dent actually is a good guy deep down, which we knew in all renditions of him anyway. But in
Hmm.
this rendition of him, it was really hard to see that up until these last couple episodes.
Oh yeah, because throughout the entire season
He's been portrayed as kind of like basically how Bruce Wayne is portrayed in the media.
yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like rich guy, does whatever he wants, loves people, takes bribes when he needs to. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep. No, that was definitely portrayal. But then at the same time, like towards the end of the season, he was very reluctant to,
I think he
like
really
with
like. I think he wanted to be governor. No, mayor. Sorry, mayor.
Mayor.
So bad that he was losing focus of what he needed to do, like what he wanted to do, and realizing that oh my gosh, this is going to cost him a lot more than he ever thought it was going to.
Oh yeah, I mean the only reason he agreed to work with Thorne is because he wanted a win to try to fix Gotham.
But again,
But
he was because of that he was short-sighted in remembering why that was not a good idea to begin with.
yep, because he was desperate. He was
Yes,
losing and he needed the
yes,
help, and he was getting the help where he could get it. Wasn't
yes.
the right help, but it was help.
Actually, very valid. Um, and we got a lot of back and forth between um, Dent and Two Face. Um, yeah, I mean he took out a lot of guys with ease. Liked everything about it. The fact that he took out Bullock and Fisk, Flask, no Fisk, no
Flask.
Flask. I was right the second time. Um, was actually pretty cool. I liked all of it. I also liked the interactions between him and Barbara Gordon because it was very um, adversarial
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning, and this time we got to see them like really connect. And then he took a
Yep.
bullet for her.
Yeah. Yep.
I was
It was just
really
it was so unique. I loved this uniqueness because it was it was he would snap, and then seeing her would bring him back to reality.
yeah,
And I loved that. Even though he like they weren't a fan of each other, they had respect for
correct,
each other. They didn't like
correct,
each other,
correct.
but
All correct. I agree with you 100%.
in this situation, especially towards the end, she was his anchor to reality.
Yes, yeah, 100%.
Which I loved it. You know,
Agreed. No, no, no. Here's the thing. 100% agree with
um,
you. Overall, thought it was great. I love the rendition of it. I love Batman teaming up with the rest of the group to to kind of help out in the whole situation and save Barbara and or attempt to save Barbara and Dent. Um,
yeah.
Overall, I liked it. I mean, like I said, I thought it was really good. Really enjoyed it. Um, I like their take on Harvey Dent. No, I like their take on Two Face. Wasn't a huge fan of Harvey Dent until we got to these last two episodes.
I agree with you throughout the entire season. I was like, okay, I don't like this Harvey Dent. He's so stuck up.
Correct.
And then at
I
the
didn't
end,
hate it
I was really
completely. I didn't hate it completely, like meaning like it would ruin the whole show. It was more the fact of like I didn't like it because I don't I think it could have been done better, but they did do better at the end, and I think they gave them
So
justice.
it was one of those things for me. Like I didn't like it because the writers wanted you not to like it. He was
Yes,
meant to be shown as a prick, and then
correct.
at the end of the season, you realize that it was just a front. He was doing it to seem strong and not like he actually cared when he actually did. And it really came
Absolutely.
together when he was fighting with himself.
100%. 100%. I agree with you.
Like that ending put the entire season of him like completed that whole season for him. Like
Yeah,
it was beautiful, honestly.
100%. So we're gonna talk about Barbara and Jim Gordon. Actually, let's talk about the detective first,
Montoya.
Montoya.
Okay.
She is an up and coming detective, the only female on the force that's a detective, I believe.
Yep.
And she's basically had to prove her worth because she's a woman and it's that time frame. Um, and she had a lot of ups and downs in this season. A lot of highs of having her own task force, then it obviously being taken away from her. We then had her. We find out a lot about her that apparently James Gordon is like a father to her.
Yep.
Uh, and it doesn't sound like she has any family.
Yep. Doesn't sound like that. Yep.
She's also a great detective, um, one of the best, I will say. And the fact that she's openly a lesbian. Um,
In those times. Yeah.
I know. Shocking. But also the fact that she's a great cop, but also a great cop that's not corruptible, or at least as
Yep.
of right now. Um,
She's one of the few uncorruptible cops at the moment,
correct,
like you said.
correct.
Her and Gordon at the moment are the only two that are pure trustworthy that we've
100%.
seen. I mean, like, there's obviously
That
has
that
to
were
be a
given.
few that are in
I
the
was going to say
force.
that we're given spotlight, like that we're given
Yeah.
spotlight.
We
Obviously, I
thought we
imagine.
had one more, but it turns out that was not true.
Who's the other
In the
one?
assassination episode.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You're right. I forgot about that. You are
Yep.
correct. I did think so. Because it was somebody that we thought was on Gordon's side, which he is on James Gordon's side, but not Barbara Gordon's side.
Yep. Yeah. He wanted to pay.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, we had all that, which was cool. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about her development because that it wasn't as big as all the others. I feel like we're going to talk a little bit more about the others. Barbara and Jim Gordon, their relationship starts off very much butting heads. Like you said, they're very different in opinion on how the law is and what the job of a cop is.
Hmm.
And it's a lot of back and forth. They do care about each other, and that's never changed. That
Oh
was
yeah.
100% always been there, never changed whatsoever. But their opinions on them, on each other, change throughout the season. And what I mean by that is like, oh, you think this one's so great, yet look at what they did, kind of thing. Like, oh, this is the law in progress and stuff like that, and things of that nature. And I love to see the back and forth between the two of them, especially in the assassination episode. Um, and the fact that she saw Batman before her dad.
Yeah. Yep. I think everyone saw Batman before him.
Yeah, I had to think about it. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you're right. He was legitimately the last. Did Harvey Dent see him before him? I think that might have been the only one. Maybe
I think Dent was the only one that didn't see him before. Yeah.
he might have like saw him in. I don't know. That's the only one that maybe, right? Um,
Yep.
but yeah, overall, like I said, great father and daughter relationship. Thought this was a nice take on Barbara because she's a lawyer in this one.
Yeah, very different take. I'll be
A
honest.
defense a defense attorney though, out of all
Yep.
things.
Yep. I'll be honest. In the assassination episode, when he pulled the gun on her, I thought that was where
When
we
she
were
gets
getting. She
crippled,
was going to turn into Oracle, and
when he shoots her in the spine.
you know, obviously it wasn't. But
True.
yeah, no, I like that take on her.
I think
Gave a little bit more relationship to her father. I think.
I also think too. I think we're gonna have to get a Robin before we get Oracle.
Eh, I mean,
Maybe.
yeah.
I don't know. Oracle may be more likely because she'd be out of the limelight. Um, but anyway, so then we got to talk about. Oh wait, what did you have to say?
No, I was there was one thing that I wanted to say, and now I forget it. So continue.
Bruce Wayne and Alfred Pennyworth. We talked about this briefly, but we might as well go in more detail now. This is definitely the not the typical relationship that the two have in all renditions. This is very much Bruce Wayne uses Pennyworth to do whatever he wants because it's his butler. He's supposed to do what he's supposed to do.
Mm.
Alfred cares about Bruce Wayne, which is very similar to every rendition of Alfred.
Yep. Yep.
It's not until halfway through the season that Batman slash Bruce Wayne even shows an ounce of care to Alfred, and it's only because he's nearly dying by being possessed by a ghost, the
Yeah.
gentleman's
Eh.
ghost. Um, we then have towards the end. I think it was at the very end of the season. It was thank you, Pet Alfred. Thank you, Alfred, for all the work you've done.
Yeah. No, at the end of the yeah, you're right. He was going to say Pennyworth, and he changed it to Alfred, which was like pretty emotional.
Yeah, and it also just proves like he's now realizing he needs him more than he thought.
Yep.
And I don't know. Maybe he thought I don't know. Maybe he realized he was taking advantage of him, and it changed his mind a little bit. I don't know. It's really tough to kind of like figure out exactly what the motivation was beforehand. Like
I
what he
think
was
this
really thinking.
version of I think this version of Bruce Wayne dash Batman has so much trauma from his parents' death, and he felt so terrible about it because he had an attachment to them
Yep.
that he doesn't want to have that feeling if something happens to Alfred.
Yes, but I don't think he thought he would ever feel like that about anybody else either.
One more time.
I don't think he thought he was ever going to feel like that again because he wasn't going to care about anybody else as much as his parents. Can you not hear me?
I this is weird. You just I cannot hear you. Hold on. Did my headset turn off?
I can hear you.
It's because
Can you hear me? No.
try
Can
saying
you hear
something.
me?
I can hear you. Yeah, my headset turned off. That's
Oh,
weird.
okay. All right. Well, anyway, so like I said, we had this, and I was very surprised. This was a very different take on their relationship, but it would also get to show like he was so traumatized from it, and he didn't recover, and he still hasn't recovered. And we see it with him
Yep.
shooting the gun. We see it with him talk how he deals with Alfred overall, and towards the end, we definitely get. Can you hear me?
I cannot hear you at the moment.
All right. So basically, what this was a great rendition of the two characters, and overall great. Mike, do your character spotlight.
There we go. Okay, you're through the computer.
All right, just do your character spotlight.
Do my that's it. You're done with the other characters.
There was nobody really else to talk about
Oh, okay, that's fine then.
because nobody else had a character arc.
Okay, yeah, I don't remember the thing I wanted to say, but it's fine. Okay, so my character this week is a character that we will be seeing a lot of in the next month in the Penguin show.
Oh, sorry. We forgot one last thing about the show.
Okay.
The ending credit scene had Joker in it,
Yep.
or who we assume to be Joker.
No, that's Joker. I mean, it
Um,
could be a different take, but it's
It's
the Joker.
definitely a different take because of how he sounds.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Very very much like Harley Quinn, like deadpan.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, sorry. That was it. That was everything I forgot. Now you do your character spotlight, and then we'll be done.
And that'll be okay. So my character, as I was saying, we will be seeing a lot of in the character in the show, the Penguin.
Oh, okay.
Her name is Sophia Falcone. She originated in her first appearance came in the comics in 1996.
Ooh,
Um, she was born to the Falcone family. She was the only daughter to Carmine Falcone and sister to Mario Falcone, and it was Alberto Falcone. Um, so while Sophia grew up, she did not experience much warmth from her loving warmth from her father.
shock.
He was too busy leading the crime family. Uh, Sophia managed to get a good look behind the machinery of the Falcone criminal network. She was 13 years old, and Carmine sent Sophia away from Gotham to Miami. He did not want her to be corrupted by Gotham. Um, so Sophia, being a Falcone, she ran the Falcone business while she was in Florida. And so while in Florida, 10 years later, eventually James Gordon travels down to Miami and tries to persuade Carmine to help topple the Cobblepot empire. Because when the Falcones leave Gotham, Penguin takes over. And and so the only way to stop that is to bring in another crime family that can keep order.
Fair.
As you know, there's a big theme in Gotham where when one crime family is taken out, the other one takes its place, and more chaos arises.
Correct.
So when Gordon finally convinces Falcone to return to Gotham, thanks to the help from Sophia. When they finally return to Gotham, Sophia pays a visit to Penguin, accompanied by two other people, Giovanni and Rinaldi. They wanted her to take over the crime family. While meeting with Cobblepot, he overpowers her, and he had Victor Zsasz, who is a known associate with Cobblepot. Victor Zsasz killed the other two individuals, Giovanni and Rinaldi. They going back and forth with tons of meeting, trying to be, civil crime bosses, trying to come to mutual understanding. But as it typically does, it eventually leads to all-out war. And with the war with Cobblepot, Cobblepot thought Sophia had an interest in him, although it was like a mixed thing because there is a relationship between Gordon and Sophia as well. So it got like weird.
As it always does.
But there are a couple renditions of her. In the Long Halloween rendition, taken away from the one that I just talked about as well. In this rendition, the holiday killer started going after members of the Falcone family. Carmine was getting nervous, so Sophia was in prison. Carmine had Sophia released to try to protect her and the rest of the family, as well as him. At the end of the day, the holiday killer ended up being Sophia's brother, Alberto Falcone. Eventually led to Carmine getting killed by Harvey Dent, who later became Two-Face. While there was the confrontation between Two-Face and the Falcones, Carmine getting killed, Sophia ended up falling out of their penthouse window. She did not die. She got paralyzed. And that led to the later comic series, The Dark Victory. In The Dark Victory, we find out we find out that she survived in this issue. She had been paralyzed, but that was a ruse. She was not actually paralyzed. She was pretending to be paralyzed to get close to her enemies to be able to take them out. And it eventually led to her killing her brother Alberto for revenge, to get revenge for what he did. She attempted to kill Two-Face, but Batman inevitably was able to stop her and send her back to. Oh, actually, no, did not send her to prison. In this, Batman stopped her, and from it says that Two-Face ended up shooting her in the head.
Oh, okay.
But as you know, anything can happen.
To
So,
be fair, there's the Lazarus pit, so
but there's a lot of story between Sophia Falcone. I know that you did not know her
yeah, I did
from
not.
these trailers, and I figured before the show started, I'd give you a little bit of backstory of a couple of stories that she was in the comics. So she was still a significant family member. She did control some of the Falcone family, even though her father didn't want her to get involved.
Just
He
not
needed
really in
her.
Gotham as much as
Huh?
typical. It sounded like more Florida than in Gotham.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, like I said, this week I was between like 3 or 4 different character spotlights.
That's fair.
The bunch of them came from the
The Batman
Cape
show.
Crusader show.
Fair enough. Well, that's going to be it for today. Next week, it's just going to be Kite-Man Hell Yeah, right? No. Is something starting yet?
No, I think that's it.
When does
When
Penguin
does
start?
huh?
When does Penguin start?
September.
So does Agatha.
When does Agatha start?
September.
September, not August.
No, September.
Oh, okay.
Because I think it's only 6 episodes, and I think the series finale is on Halloween.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Um,
Um,
I thought there was something else coming up. I thought there was something in August. Maybe I'm wrong. Either way, we'll
there's
figure
so
this.
many things. Either way, we'll
We'll
figure it
we'll
out. We'll
figure it
come.
out right this very second. We're going to be talking at the very least for sure, Kite Man Hell Yeah, episode 5, and then we'll go from there. Other than that, this is going to be.
It's actually really funny that we were crying about how there was so much.
But I think we didn't know that there was going to be an end to it. So like I think we were just so jam packed with stuff that it was going to take us forever to do. Because I think also at one point we were going to divide up Cape Crusader in half.
Yeah, I had suggested it, and you just
Nope,
shut it
I lied.
down.
Nope, I said no. But yeah, so anyway, we're going to be talking about obviously something. But for right now, that's going to if you made it this far, please make sure to like and subscribe down below. Other than that, this is going to be Scott and Mike signing out with the Black Eel podcast. Have a great night. Bye-bye.